Then I will take you to the train where you will ride up the mountain. Then at the top of the mountain, you will get off the train. You will come back into town on a bus. So that's the itinerary for you. Oh, and if everyone would take out their passport book and hold it up, I just need to get my eyes off. You're good, thank you. No, that is not his wife, but you might recognize her. Her name was Mae West. And Martin was an interesting guy. He was a gold rush stampeder, a German immigrant that was living in Jacksonville, Florida in the late 1800s when we heard about gold in the Klondike. And like a lot of young men, Martin raced up here thinking he'd walk on the beach and find a fortune. And he was wrong. Yeah, that's not the reality here. They did call Skagway the gateway to the gold fields. Do you know how far you are from the gold fields right now? About 600 miles away. Yeah, so nowhere close. From here, you went on a 40-mile hike. You got to Lake Bennett. You built your own boat, rafted for a couple of 100 miles. Eventually, you got to Dawson City. From there, you went and staked your claim. And arguably, that's when the hard stuff started. Martin did not find a fortune, but he did spend the rest of his life here. And in 1923, he gave the first motorized tour in Alaska's history to President Warren G. Harding. So we are the original touring company, and that's why we're in the bus, and that's why I'm wearing the dress. Going for like a 1920s feel. Thank you. It's a Laura Ashley. And it's mountain peaks, they often don't fly. On a 600-mile hike. So things were pretty crazy, but for all the madness, there was a nice sense of camaraderie. A fraternal organization established during the gold rush, a boys' club, a network of men to have each other's backs. If you were going on a 600-mile journey, bringing your kids didn't make it easier. So most people didn't. But that meant these people were lonely. They wanted friends. So joining a club like that gave you a network. That was valuable. Now, during the gold rush, Skagway ended up with more than 75 saloons. Oh, yeah. One of the most popular was the mascot there on the right. It's being blocked by the bus. But as we drive past, you might be able to see there are some bottles in the front windows there. All of those bottles were found underneath the floorboards when the National Park Service restored that building. Now, do you feel like you've been dropped into a theme park? Yes. I do. Yeah, and what's up with this town? Why is it like this? Well, the reason our buildings look like this is because Skagway has never burnt down. And that might not seem like a big deal, but it is a huge deal. Most gold rush towns burned down in their entirety, at least once. Never us. We have original structures. Now, the other reason Skagway looks like this, we now have an agreement between the National Park Service and the city. Any new construction done in our first 8 blocks of Broadway, just this street, must be based off of a photograph from the gold rush. So in theory, the farther we move into the future, the more it's going to look like the past. For a year, hadn't even seen a piece of fruit, so they bought the melons. With the money Kermsey earned, he opened up his business. At first he sold gold rush supplies, later pocket watches. And we like to say Herman Kermsey learned the most important gold rush lesson. You want to make a fortune during a gold rush? Don't mind the mine. Mind the miners. Eliminate the risk for yourself. Now, speaking of money, we are now in the financial district. Yep, the Wells Fargo Bank, that's it. That is the only bank in town. Some people call this the business district because it's attached to the post office. But we really are small. And this is not the downtown that we show, our guests. This is the town. This is it. And a lot of this will shut down in the next couple of weeks. Technically, cruise ships will come visit us through mid-October. Most businesses close down September 30th because it's just really quiet after that. And a lot of people are seasonal workers, so a lot of people have to head out of town. Now, you might have noticed that we don't have any chain chain things. I guess the Wells Fargo Bank. We also have a Harley Davidson here on the left. Of course, they don't sell motorcycles. But, no McDonald's, no Starbucks. We gotta go to Canada for any of that. We are just a very small town. Now, from here on out, those. You can still do it. I've tried. You can saute the spruce tips. You can pickle them. You can make jams. I've tried all of that, and either I'm bad at doing it or it's just gross. Could be either one or both. I don't know. There is something they do with the spruce tips that I think is very tasty. It's beer. They make beer. They incorporate the spruce tips into the hopping process. That vitamin C seeps into the beverage. That is something we still do locally. So if anyone was looking for a reason to have a beer after your train ride, it's for your health. Just saying, it is an option. Wow. A multi-million-dollar safety facility in a crime and fire-free town. Incredible. Ridiculous? Yeah. Are we happy to have it? Yes. I have to say, it kind of messes with my head, though, to live in a crime-free town half of my year. I always have a hard time breaking some habits that I form up here. Like right now, my personal vehicle, parked on the side of the road, keys hanging out of the ignition. I'm not worried about you stealing my car. My car is perfectly fine, but we've just pretty much driven the length of town. If you steal my car, I'm going to find you. It's not worth doing. You're not getting away with anything around here. It's a small town. I don't think Southeast Alaska, but this is actually a very important ecosystem. And it is a rainforest, so things are lush and green, but it means we do get this weather. This is not uncommon. Particularly this summer, it's been a cold, damp summer for us from start to finish. Got less sun than we normally get. But driving this direction also lets me show you the school. Here it is. Grades pre-K through 12. Happening all right here under one roof. Yep. Now, obviously, the kids are there. And this is their 4th week back already. I can't believe it. And I could be off by a number or two, but I believe that the total enrollment pre-K through 12 is 141. That's what my friend told me. She's a teacher. She told me that during preschool week, so it could have fluctuated a little bit. But if it's somewhere right around there or higher, that'd be the highest enrollment the school has ever had. Ever. They are expecting a massive graduating class this year of 7. I know, it's getting competitive. And I like to describe the school kind of the same way I like to describe the town. I like to say it's nice, but it's different. What do I mean? Well, okay, there's 10 teachers. There's more grades than teachers. We put grades together based on the curriculum, the enrollment. We make it work. And it has been working. Because the Skagway City School has been top 3 in test scores in the state of Alaska for the last 13 consecutive years now. They're going well. What about sports? Yeah, we do them smaller. There's no football team, right? But we've got basketball, volleyball, cross country. Who do they compete with? There's no other school. Well, other cities in Southeast Alaska that are just like us. They go to Haines. They go to Juneau. They take the ferry. The ferry only runs once a day, so they have to stay overnight, or else they might charter a flight back. So it takes more planning. There's more to it. They still get the experience. And nice but different is how I like to describe Skagway as well. Something that strikes me as being so different is that for a small town, we're pretty densely populated. Of course, I know there are smaller and larger places, but all 2,000 of us, well, except for the 20 on the side of the mountain, we live in this 4x23 rectangle, which means you really get to know people in town. You get to know your neighbors. Seriously, every time I leave my house, I run into at least one person I know, which can be really fun and also be exhausting. But it's nice to feel like you're a part of the community. Between Fairbanks and Nome, where the moose and the caribou play, where nothing will grow, 'cause it's covered in snow, from July to the following May. Oh, home in the snow, where it's nice if it's 40 below. It's the tundra for me, by the old Bering Sea, and the life of an old sourdough. Thank you. And,
Coming up on our right-hand side, we're going to see the Gold Rush Cemetery. This is where a lot of colorful characters from the Gold Rush era are buried, such as our town hero Frank Reed, our town villain Sophie Smith, and passengers who have crossed from car to car.
Welcome forward, folks.
Thank you. Our story here on the White Pass Railroad is intertwined with the beginnings of the Klondike Gold Rush. I'm going to take you back in time to before the railroad was even built. It is August 16th of 1896. Skookum Jim, Dawson Charlie, George Carmack, and his wife Kate Carmack were in the Klondike area of the Yukon when they found that precious yellow metal shining in Rabbit Creek, now known as Bonanza Creek, a tributary to the Klondike River. Now, since George Carmack was the only white member of the group, he decided to make those first claims as they thought at the time a Native American would not be recognized as discoverer. Flash forward almost a year later to July of 1897, two ships, the Portland and the Excelsior, docked in Seattle and San Francisco, carrying the very thing that drove men to start wars and die over. With the new trend of anyone being able to strike it rich, the race to the Klondike was on. Though the trail was a treacherous 600 miles of cliffs, rocks, ice, and mud, it was too late and they had already tasted it. There was no turning back. Gold fever had taken a hold and they had decided they will do whatever necessary. From the summer of 1897 through early 1898, thousands of hopeful miners stampeded into the newly created tent and shack towns of Skagway and Daihe. Skagway, founded by Captain William Moore and is the head of the White Pass Trail, is where our journey began. For now, I'll leave you with the beautiful views of the Tongass National Forest and the Skagway River on our left.
Hello, everyone. Hello. There we go. My name's Chris. We're doing your tour guides today. Y'all have heard Matt on the stereo. He's going to be your narrator. There are bottles of water at the back of the train car. Should you have too many of them, water restrooms right here. Use that as much as you need. In a little bit, you're going to hear Matt come on the stereo and open up the platforms. That is this little deck right here. There's another deck back there. Those platforms are some of the coolest spots in the whole train. I cannot recommend going outside enough. It's super, super awesome. May I borrow this real quick? Sure. When you sit down, sorry about that. Okay. Should have had an all-aboard magazine on your seat. You open up to the last page to see this little fold-out map. Matt's going to talk about all these landmarks. If you want to know where we're at on the line, just listen for him and pay attention to the map. I'll get you another one. If you need to have that map in a language other than English, I got a hint for it here just let me know as I'm walking through. Otherwise, my name's Chris. You'll enjoy the ride.
Thank you.
I'll bring you one. Yeah.
The Tongass is a place where icy glaciers hang above thick spruce overgrowth forests, where waterfalls cascade down into mushroom patches being shared by even the tiniest of creatures. For over 10,000 years, natives have inhabited the area closely with salmon, wolves, bears, eagles, and whales. At roughly the size of West Virginia, the Tongass is the largest national forest in the United States and home to approximately 70,000 people living in 32 communities. The Forest Service strives to find the right balance so that people may continue to enjoy this unparalleled place. Coming up on our right-hand side, you will see a little red caboose. Now, this caboose used to be part of the White Pass rolling stock, but was donated to the National Park Service and is now rented out to overnight hikers. All you need to bring is your own sleeping bags, sleeping pads, cooking stove, lanterns, pots, pans, plates, utensils, food, toilet paper, garbage bags, fire extinguisher, and fire starter. Shortly after we see that caboose, we'll be crossing over the East Fork of the Skagway River with great views on either side of the train. Was facing its worst economic depression ever. Due to the collapse of the Philadelphia Reading Railroad and the National Cordage Company, stock prices plummeted, 500 banks closed, 15,000 businesses failed, and numerous farms ceased operations. The U.S. was in a panic. Citizens of every class were suffering, looking for a way out, when they hear off in the distance of ordinary people making it rich. Now that sparked a frenzy. The whisper in everyone's ear was Klondike. Everyone who could go were willed on by loved ones, hoping for their safe return and a small fortune of their own. The Klondike was to be this saving grace, however little did they know that this road to riches was not paved by gold, but by brutal and desperate quests to survive as they made their journey over these mountains. This narrow quarter-mile corridor is known as Rocky Point. Here, rail workers use 250 tons of blasting powder to get through the solid granite, which is over half of the total powder used to clear the entire White Pass Railroad. Now, we do use modern forms of blasting techniques in the form of orange cones you might have seen on the right-hand side. What they will do is drill holes into the side of the bedrock, and later on fill that with blasting powder so they can widen out the rail bed in the future. Those cones hold their place and keep other stuff from falling inside. Now, as we clear Rocky Point, looking sharply down on our left, we'll see some of the most violent sections of the Skagway River, posting up to Class 6 rapids.
Yeah.
You can actually look up there and see one of our sister trains making its way down the mountain. Feel free to take pictures of them, who are taking pictures of us, taking pictures of them, and taking pictures of us. We are approaching the first tunnel run through of the day. That is 250 feet long and very dark, so prepare yourself for that. Looking forwards and to the left, on our left-hand side, you might have spotted what looks like downed power lines. These are actually old telegraph lines that were used during World War II when the U.S. Army used our railroad. They would use them to help communicate with Skagway a lot easier. Now we just use radios on repeaters. Now we just use radios on repeaters. Now...